What's going on, everybody? Today we are doing a fallow great one grind guide. This is going to be an extremely simple one. I will briefly talk about herd management in towards the end of this grind, or towards the end of the guide, I guess. But we are just going to be starting off with some pretty simple ways to start off for your, mainly this is for beginners, for your first great one grind, because a lot of people go to fallow because it's a pretty easy grind to set up. As there's not too many zones, there's about 30 to 40 zones to find on the map. So obviously, first things first, you want to find all of your drinking zones on the map, and they can drink anywhere. Oops, I'm walking forward. They can drink anywhere on this side of the map here. So like, we got this lake here, the entire coast, upper coast, the river, all the way to the edge of this one spot here on this lake, and then this double lake. Those are every spot that you can find fallow on this map. And yeah, I did just do a map reset, so I just deleted my game file, so I have a completely fresh map to make this video, guys, for you. So it still shows that I have zones, but these aren't actually discovered. My deer are gonna be in different spots potentially. So we got ourselves a couple of deer here, but first things first, I'm just going to be going around trying to find every single fallow zone on my map. And once I do that, then I can move on to the next step. I'm not actually going to find every single zone. I'm just going to find a couple of them and just kind of show you guys how to set up on them. But your main thing is you want to find every map on, or every zone on your map, and then you pick out 8 zones to grind. Those are going to be your main grinding zones. Every other zone on your map that's not your 8 mains are going to be considered exterior zones. So first things first, you need to find all your zones. Step number 2 is you need to pick 8 zones to grind, and those zones can vary. You want to try and get a zone with 2 males and 3 females. That's ideal. So if you can get 8 of those, that would be perfect, but mainly you just want 2 male zones. So any zones you find that have just 2 males in them, that would be perfect for grinding. You also want to make sure they're not solos. And what that means is sometimes you can have like a 3 male zone and 3 females, but one of those males could be a solo, meaning he's not actually a part of that herd. He just happens to drink in the same spot. So when you shoot him, solos have a chance to respawn almost anywhere on the map within their home range. So there's a chance he doesn't come back to the same spot, which can make for a super inefficient grind. So we'll check this zone here. We have a zone of 5. And right there, we have a 1. So that is a solo. So one of these deer, and it's the bigger one, that bigger 4, was a solo. I can check by the track there. But yeah, we're just going to continue running around trying to find all of the fallow, at least in this kind of bottom part of the map. I probably won't run the coast. I'll probably just do these lakes and then the double lake up top. And then after that, I will move on to the next step. But biggest things from the first 2 steps, obviously find your zones. Pick 8 main zones. Zones that have 2 males are going to be what you want with no solos. And then I will show you guys how to set it up on them once I go and get a couple zones for myself. Now, something I will do every once in a while is if I find a decent sized solo, I will take him out. This is for herd management. If you're not planning on herd managing, which if it's your first Grant 1 grind, I would not recommend herd management. Oh, he's put his face in front of it. Doesn't matter. Herd management will take you probably longer to figure out than it will for your whole Great 1 grind. So as a new player, I would not recommend that unless you really get a decent understanding of it. But I'm going to be herd managing, so if you are going to be herd managing, then you are going to want to shoot the big solos that you find. The only condition is you have to go and find them again and see what they respawn as. That will be mostly later on when you start shooting down your map. What herd management is basically, if you have a bunch of small animals on your map, bigger animals respawn. If you allow bigger animals on your map, smaller animals respawn. The game tries to balance itself, just kind of just the core concept of it. Now, what you can do to kind of manipulate spawns is if you only have your entire map shot down, so if every single zone on your map except for your 8 main zones is either small 2s, 1s, or very tiny 3s, then you can get bigger spawns in your main zones. Meaning you'll be getting a diamond 1 out of every 15, 1 out of every 20 kills, instead of 1 out of every 100 kills. It just gives you a better chance at getting a super rare, mainly. Because if you think about it, if you get a rare, let's say you get a rare, I don't know, 1 in every 200 kills, that rare has a 1 in 100 chance of being a super rare if you get about a diamond every 100 kills. But if you herd manage and you get your diamond rate down to about a diamond every 1 in 20 kills, then all of a sudden that chance of it being a super rare is 1 in 20. Because every time that rare spawns is a 1 in 20 chance to be a diamond. So it just kind of helps for super rares. It's also not confirmed, but it is thought to be helpful for spawning your great one. In my experience, I have had faster Great One grinds when I do herd manage, but nothing's confirmed. You can kind of everyone has their own opinions on it, so I won't really stand hugely on opinion. But in my opinion, herd management does work, at least for fallow. But yeah, that's the simple concept of it. So basically, you have, if you have heard of stacking before, a lot of people have kind of a warped perception of that. What you do when you stack is once you have all your zones, you have your 8 main zones picked out, you want to stack your diamonds in your main zones so that you can shoot down your exterior zones. So when you have a lot of big animals on the map, you can spawn small animals. So if you have diamonds in your main zones, then all your exterior zones, you can shoot them down to those level 2s that you want. And then once you get your whole map shot down to small levels, except for your main zones, then you can shoot all your stacked diamonds and go on with your grind. It basically just helps you shoot down your map faster. But that's basically all I have to say about that. I will go probably more in depth a little bit later on herd management. But right now, I did say I wasn't going to run the coast. I am running the coast, just kind of seeing what I can find, see what is out here. I'm not seeing a whole lot yet. Oh, actually, hang on. Got a couple out there. This might not be a bad zone, unless one of them's a solo. There are a lot of females. Usually the more females there are, the longer it takes for the males to respawn. But it's in a good spot, so I wouldn't be opposed to grinding that zone. If it is actually one zone. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm not sure if that's the biggest fallow can get. I haven't done fallow in a minute. But I'll go and check out that zone over there. There is a good chance one of those males is a solo. And if that is the case, then I will not be grinding that zone. But yeah, just kind of keep a mental note of the zones you want to grind as you start finding them. And then you can come back later and drop your tents. The only reason I'm not dropping a tent right now is because it'll spook off any fallow in the area. But yeah, I'm just going to continue finding all my zones. And I will get you guys back anytime there's something interesting happening or when I'm done finding those zones. I mean, it's not a fallow deer, but that's a potential diamond mallard. So I will... Uh-oh. Do I not have... Okay, I do have a 22. I was going to say, I thought I had a 22 in this loadout. But yeah, where'd he go? That's not him. Where'd he go? That is a crazy looking piebald female right there. Anyways, where did that level 3 go? There he is. All right, let's pop him. Game? What? I'm so confused right now. How did that not get him? I'm very confused. I mean, the chances of me hitting him now are basically none. But how in the world did that not kill him? Well, at least I know where he's at, so won't be that big of a deal to find him again. But still, that was very interesting. Doubt we can hit him. Never know. Can always try. And last shot. And nope. Well, bit confused on how that didn't hit him, but we can come back another time and grab him. Probably in a different video, just because he's basically a guaranteed diamond, and I'm working on fallow right now. So I'm going to continue running down here. Actually, you know what? Heading here is going to be a little bit faster. And then I'm going to do a quick time reset, exit main menu, rejoin to make sure all the fallow are back in their zones. And I'm going to do a quick double check of a lake I checked earlier that didn't have anything added. So this right here is a perfect example of a zone that we need to have in our grind. Now, one of these males is most likely a solo. So I will definitely be getting one of these dudes out of here. But 2 of these males are going to be from, hopefully, from this group. So this is going to be the ideal 2 male, 3 female herd that you want at all times for all your zones, if possible. Very rarely you're going to get all your zones or all your main zones to be 2 males, 3 females. But we're going to try and figure out which male is the solo, so I can shoot him and get him out of here at some point. But this is for sure going to be one of my main zones. So I can honestly just drop a tent right on top of them for claiming for later on. But first, let's attempt to figure out which one is the solo. I guess it's not really gonna make a difference right now because I'm not sure which one I just had last spot. It was definitely one of the 3s. Actually, they might have all been 3s. I wasn't paying attention that well. So a 4 zone. So 3 females and a male. And then does that mean there's 2 solos? Hang on a second. I think there's 2 solos. That's unfortunate. That is super unfortunate. So it's actually just a single male zone. This right here might be a perfect zone though, or close to it. Possibly. There's a lot of males here. I'm assuming most of them are solos. But this could be a zone, although how far away is that from me? It's gonna be a tough shot. I could definitely shoot him from over there. It's just gonna be a very, very difficult shot. 400-meter shot. This is kind of a terrible zone to grind. Maybe if I am over there, possibly. But let's see. Okay, we got a solo here, obviously. How many are in this one? Another solo. Interesting. Where in the world are... Where's the group? The herd one. I don't know where the herd is. Might just not be having their track show up right now. Unless those are the ones that fled from over there. I'm not sure. I'm going to continue searching this map. So far, I'm not liking what I'm seeing in terms of my zones, but I'll just have to deal with it. Alright, so this is a good example here. Whether or not that's a solo or not, I'm just going to treat it like this is the main zone. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have a tent set up over here. And all you want is a tent set up about 250 meters away from the zone. So all I got to do is get up here on this hill to where I'm 250 meters away. And then I either drop a tripod or some sort of ground blind or something that you can do to eliminate that hunting pressure. Basically, you can shoot 4 animals in a zone before that zone gets deleted. But if you are in a tree stand or tripod or ground blind, then you can shoot 16. So we always just want to have those. And then back here should be about far enough for loading in. They are going to flee just because it's a 300-meter spook radius when you place a tent. Actually, they didn't even flee. Okay, well, that's perfect. Anyways, then you would have your tripod right about here. And then all you would do is you'd walk out, you'd hop in your tripod, you'd zero for 300, whatever you want to zero for. And then you would attempt to take both of them. I am taking them with the 300 just because it is quicker to take them down during the grind. And then what you would do is you would have your tent here to claim them. So I'm going to go drop a tent over there. And once that tent is dropped, you are done with that zone. And then all you got to do is do that for 8 more zones or 7 more zones. But yeah, there's tons of different good spots to go for. It does get a bit confusing at the top right lakes. What I usually do is I will show you my setup real quick that I usually do for the top right lakes. Usually I'll grind 2 zones here. I will have my tent and my tripod here, and then I will grind this zone and one of these zones over here usually are what I'd end up grinding. And then I'd have a tent at each of them, so that way I can grind 2 zones from that lake. But other than that, sometimes this actually ends up being a good zone here. Most of the time it's not. And then, like I said, the whole river, you have chances for more zones as well. But this is basically what you do for each and every zone. And then if you do want to herd manage, once you have your zones set up, your 8 main zones, then you start stacking diamonds in your main zones while you grind one of your exteriors. So I personally do 1 exterior zone at a time. So like, let's say I'm grinding this zone, but I'm not grinding this one. This is an exterior zone, but there's a big level 4 in it. Then I would, during this grind, I would also shoot that level 4 until he respawns as a level 2 or a tiny 3. And then I will move on, basically until the entire map is shot down, except for your 8 main zones. I hope that makes sense. Herd managing can be a bit overwhelming and confusing for a lot of people, especially newer grinders. But like I said, I wouldn't recommend herd management or even worrying about that as a brand new grinder. I would just set up your 8 main zones, discover all your zones, and then start grinding. And then at the end of each rotation, so what you're going to do is, let's say you do this 8 times. So you have your zone that you spawn in at, you shoot your 2 deer. You only shoot 2 deer per zone. That's just a thing you always do. Never shoot more, and don't shoot females. They can just have chances to mess up your zones. And it's just like a whole mess you don't really want to get into. If you do accidentally shoot a female, it's not that big of a deal. It only happens rarely. Anyways, once you get your zone set up and you go and you shoot at all 8 of your zones, you're going to exit to main menu, rejoin, and then reset the time. I usually set the time to 12 o'clock when I'm grinding Fallow. And then you are good to go. The only reason you exit to main menu and rejoin is to make sure all of the deer are back calm and in their zone. You can no longer force respawns by shooting or by quitting the main menu, because I don't know why they changed it. They just ended up changing it. So now anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes is how long it takes a deer to respawn. Respawn mechanics are a whole different thing. But anyways, you would come down here, you would drop a tent on top of the zone for claiming, and then next time you come through, you would shoot them from there and fast travel here just to claim them extremely quickly. And that just about does it, I think. It is a pretty simple setup, especially out here on TRO. for Fallow. They're probably the easiest great one in my opinion in terms of just setting them up. The only thing you have to be careful for is those solos. They are a bit annoying. But you can never mess up your map, so don't worry about messing up your map. If one of your zones stop working for you, move to a new zone. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I think that just about does it. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did enjoy, please be sure to drop a like down below. It's the best thing you guys can do to support me. If you are new around here, please be sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications. I have a brand new video almost every single day. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a nice day, and see ya.